Our presenting sponsor today is the City of Independence, so please welcome Mayor Roy Rowland to the stage.
Thank you, Matt. Where's Kim at? Kim. You got it? All right. I just have one thing I want to give real quick. For all the stuff my wife puts up with me, I gave her flowers, so
thank you.
Yeah, you told me to do it. No, but we actually met in college in a state government class, and she was by far the smartest person in the class. And if she were mayor, she would certainly be smarter than me. So there's no question about that. And we've got to recognize the video team because they did a great job on that. The whole communications team, let's give them a round of applause. Great job there, well done. It was certainly excellent. And if you watch the video, you see the glow of my hair. And actually one of the council members who saw the video early on called me up and said, your hair kind of looks like a flying saucer from space. And then he had to say, and then he had to add sound effects. And so then he goes, the whoa, and then he had to put in the sound of doon, doon, doon. What's the tune for the encounters of a, yeah. Anyway, with that, so now whenever you see me, you can go, that hair's just glowing. So there you go. Make fun of me and have fun. But with that, our next speaker is going to be Councilmember Perkins. And he's from the 1st District. If I were to brag and bet on Councilmember Perkins, I would brag and bet on him because he is just great at constituent services. He actually called me this morning, 7:30. He sent me a text, got right back to him. We talked about a matter of constituent services that he's working on. And if I were to bet and brag on you, that's what I would do. With that, let's welcome John Perkins.
Well, with that introduction, I think I'm done, really. Thank you, Mayor, for those kind words. As the mayor said, I am John Perkins, and it's an honor, and I'm proud to be the 1st District Council member for the City of Independence. The 1st District borders 2 cities, Kansas City and Sugar Creek, and we touch the unincorporated Jackson County. To put the district into perspective, we are just a little smaller than Raytown, but we are larger than Raytown by population, about over 32,500 people. The 1st District, I would argue, has the most social, economic, and cultural makeup, boasting 4 distinct areas: the Square, Inglewood, Maywood, and Fairmont. We are a cultural melting pot for our community, proudly representing Hispanic, Island Pacific, African American heritage. The 1st District is where people come to celebrate holidays, gather. We celebrate the holidays with living windows, with the tree lighting ceremonies, square lighting ceremonies, Santa Calagon, 3rd Friday art walks, International Day of the Child, and my personal favorite, the International Potluck Dinner, which we need to bring back. We stopped during COVID. But we also come to the 1st District, to the heart of our city, in times of sorrow and remembrance, and we lean on one another for support. This is where the heart of our city is at. Over the last 7 years, the amount of public and private investment that has been brought into the district, into the city, is actually staggering. It's in the tens of millions of dollars. I'll give you a few examples. 24 Highway, which is in land acquisition and design phase from 291 to Wilson Road, is a $22 million project. With the partnership with the state of Missouri and the City of Independence, we will start moving and expanding into Western Independence and bringing that type of infrastructure to the Western Independence. Notice to proceed for construction of the Independence Square Streetscape, Truman Connected Phase 1, will proceed, if we cross our fingers, everybody cross their fingers, in the next few months to the end of the year. Minus our beautiful farmers market, this is the first major investment our city has made with the help of Congressman Cleaver, with an infusion from the federal government of over $3 million, with more into the pipeline that hope to come. Inglewood. Who hasn't driven down Winter Road and watched the CMH building developed, which is now the home of Inglewood Arts, where arts live? The people that sit on the boards, committees, associations, volunteer their time, those folks who shop, play, and live there, you all deserve a big round of applause for bringing this together. In Fairmont, we are still continually to make strides to make that a cultural district, a cultural center. Part of the 24 Highway Complete Streets is when we get to the 3rd phase. Sorry, I'm swinging this around. When we get to the 3rd phase into the heart of Fairmont, that'll be a $6 million investment of capital improvement. We're working with community leaders, Community Service League, with the strong leadership of Doug Cowan. We are making that in a community improvement district. So patience, we got a couple years down the way, but we're making good strides there. What makes my job, well, that is a quick 30,000-foot view. As you can see and imagine, there are a lot of moving parts and complexities representing the 1st District. I wouldn't change that for the world. What makes my job easy is working with people like you, great residents, great business owners, city staff, and community leaders. But there's also folks that are not here that are also the backbone of our city. There's people like Doug and Peggy Alt who, on their time off, on their weekends, they go to the bridge that's right next to them and they paint over the graffiti. They mow the lots that are right next to them. There's people like Jane Sanders and her son and her grandkids that go to 9th Street South on a regular basis, and they mow those lots and take care of that and pick up the trash. There's people like Jana Evans who live in Kentucky Hills who took it upon themselves and her leadership team to create an HOA in Kentucky Hills. Anybody who lives in an HOA, trying to start that up from scratch, give that a try. You are what makes Independence great. You're the ones that make Independence work and move. Now, let's not kid ourselves. There's still plenty of work to do. We have infrastructure improvements to do. We have trash that we must pick up. And Mayor, one of these days when I get more time off on Saturday, I'll be at one of your trash pickups, I promise. There's plenty of work need to be done, but I'm here to tell you, I would not want to do it with any other group of people. So, with that, I'll give you the words of one of our really great, and I miss him, Assistant City Managers, Mark Reynolds. It's going to be great. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dan Hobart, our Mayor Pro Tem.
How about that John Perkins, everybody? I've got comments on one and a timer on the other one. Mayor Rowland has a hook, so I've got a bit of a passion project, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So, imagine this. Imagine being a pioneer in 1850. You make your way to Independence, Missouri, the very edge of the known universe. You buy a wagon from Hiram Young. You cross the Missouri River. You're heading out across the endless, vast prairie. You travel for weeks. You wake up one morning, sunrise. In the distance, you finally see the jagged peaks of the Rocky Mountains, right? It's beautiful. But you know, crossing those mountains is going to be the greatest challenge of your journey. That's how I see Independence. The Trails Museum, that's my mountain. That's going to be our mountain. A $160 million museum will be our mountain. But I promise you, it will be worth the climb. World-class design. 22nd century, not 21st, 22nd century storytelling, technology, innovative design, things that haven't been invented yet. PGAV is fully on board. The outdoor space, the indoor space, designed for kids, designed for adults. I intend for this to be a place that people will actually come to and then go home, and they won't say that they visited Kansas City. They're going to go home and say, we went to Independence. Now, what else does a $160 million museum get us? Well, how about a Hyatt, a Marriott, and a Hilton on a fully redeveloped square? That's connected from the Truman Library to the square to Inglewood to the stadiums by a walking and bike path. That's connected by a bi-state corridor to the River Market and the Legends with electric buses. That's my vision. This is massive. massive. And everybody in here, including you, Carson Ross, needs to get on board with this. The council, me, the entire city needs you to be on board with this because it's not going to happen without your help. We need all your leadership. We need all your work. We need all your help. Because we have public votes coming up. 3 massive public votes coming up. The most important of which is a general obligation bond we are planning on having in 12 months. None of this happens without a general obligation bond in 12 months. We are the only city anywhere around here that does not have a general obligation bond. Independence is very proud of this. It will not happen without it. This will be an incredibly heavy lift. We have to have it. And it is going to take all of us. Our charter has not been updated in over 30 years. Without this foundational piece being modernized, this will not happen. We have to get into this century. IPL has to be modernized one way or the other, kicking and screaming. We must drag this again into this century. If we can't compete with our electric utility, we are going to be sunk. This is crucial for economic development. The mayor mentioned Cargo Largo. We've got the hub development. We've got North Point. We've got something potentially on the horizon at Kmart. Venture, by the way, for those of us. So, and there's going to be more on the way. It's like dominoes, folks. But if we really want to push this thing over the top, we got to compete with that, right? So this is my ask. We need your help. Every person in here. You're not just business people. You're sitting in Independence at lunch with the Chamber of Commerce on purpose. In Independence. So, one more thing. My mom grew up right where I did, right across from Lipton Tea, now Unilever. Jerry Winship showed me pictures, and we looked at the house the other day in 1960. Blue collar, her dad was a concrete finisher. She had a tough childhood. She was poor. And it didn't get any easier for her when she became a single mom with a 5-year-old. It wasn't easy for us either. She went back to school. She went to work. And independence has not always been easy for her. Been kind of a mixed bag for me on and off throughout my life. I left for school, left for jobs. I came back. I'm back now. I've admitted my love for it. I've committed to it, clearly. Here I stand. But we talk about it now. We talk about the city. She listens to Laurie Dean in my podcast. And thank you, Tom, for producing it. So this is what I want to leave you with. This is a quote. She said this the other day to me. She said, "You've changed my mind. I'd forgotten it. I see it now. Independence is not just a place to live." Jared Fears is up next. He is currently at Scout Camp, so he has pre-recorded his message.
Hello, my name is Jared Fears, and I serve as an at-large council member, meaning that I cover the entire city as opposed to one of the districts. I'm going to talk about just 3 general topics. These are economic development, infrastructure improvements, and Independence Power and Light. In the last 2 years, we have seen significant movement in large projects impacting our community. In the background, you can see the beginning of the single biggest project in the history of Independence. This, of course, is the Eastgate project in collaboration with North Point, which will invest nearly $1 billion in Independence. Over the next 10 to 15 years, this project will bring thousands of jobs to our community. Since the groundbreaking in November of 2022, more than 120 jobs have been added to our local economy. The second success story from an economic development perspective is the Cargo-Largo move and expansion. Expected to open later this summer, this facility will bring 400 jobs to our community and result in thousands of dollars in sales tax revenue as the loyal customers of this company further solidify its roots right here in Independence. Another project that was just approved at the June 20th council meeting is the third success story. This is the Hub Shopping Center and CID, which is being done with Triland. One of our anchor shopping centers in East Independence at 23rd Street and 291, the Price Chopper, Burger King, and other tenants will soon have an improved building meeting their growing needs, as well as infrastructure improvements to the parking lot and surrounding areas. In 2022, the City Council worked with the Chamber of Commerce to form the Economic Development Partnership. This contract will be for 2 years with 3 one-year renewal options. We're excited to see what this new partnership can do. Our citizens expect us to ensure that the infrastructure around them can sustain the new workload and traffic volume they bring to our community. The North Point project alone will invest millions of dollars to address infrastructure updates, including roadway, stormwater, sewer, and electrical along the Little Blue Valley and south to the Little Blue Parkway and I-70 interchange. To date, several million in state grants have already been acquired through this partnership to assist in the efforts. The Cargo-Largo team understood as they looked to this new location there would be increased traffic and have worked with the city to make improvements and changes around the Nolan Road and 35th Street area. Soon, a new connector will open just north of 35th Street, easing traffic near Truman High School. And part of the Triland project includes improvements on 23rd Street as well. Now let's talk about the future of Power and Light. In April, the council voted to begin an evaluation of the future of our Power and Light department. We understand there are a lot of questions about our utilities. This is an important decision that has been pushed down the line as far as it can go. A citywide election will be held before November of 2025, at which time the voters will be asked to determine whether the city should retain ownership of the electric utility or pursue privatization. And we will begin community conversations as soon as possible. Look for updates in upcoming council agendas and city communications such as newsletters, social media, and on our website. We are forging ahead and working to build a community we can all be proud of for generations to come. This requires new thinking, new collaboration, and new ideas. This is not at the expense of the history of our community. As we work forward, we are making sure our community's history is part of the story. I am honored to serve as one of your elected officials and excited about the future of our community. Thank you for this opportunity, and here's to many exciting conversations as we move into the future.
Good afternoon. My name is Bridget McCandless. I am the other at-large council member, and I've been proud to serve you for the last 8 months. Please pardon my allergies if I get a little bit squeaky. I will do my best. So I have 5 minutes to address the complicated issue of homelessness. Now, every city in America is dealing with this in some form or another. And it's easy to focus on the people that you see on the side of the road, but homelessness is more complicated than that. There are many people who sit on the cusp of financial catastrophe with an illness or an accident that makes them at risk of losing where they live. National projections are for an increase of 20 to 40% in the number of homeless, with increases in people over the age of 65, people who are disabled, people who rent, and families with children. Missouri currently has 34,000 homeless children, as defined by the school districts. There are more than 800 of them here in Independence. And just to illustrate this, we have had to put school bus stops at some of our pay-by-the-week motels to get kids to school. And this is true in Blue Springs and Raytown and Lee Summit and other places. And I fear that these children are at risk of becoming the next generation of homeless adults. Prevention is the very best means to address homelessness. Stabilizing people in existing housing is the cheapest form of taking care of people. Much more expensive to rehouse somebody once they've been living outside for a prolonged period of time. You are aware that rents have been increasing everywhere and that the entire Kansas City area has a deep shortage of affordable workforce housing, and that's going to require long-term work. You know, Jared highlighted all of the new jobs that are coming to Independence, and we need to have places for those folks to live. So I'm going to talk now about the people who you think of as traditional homeless, those who are living in the woods, people who are living under bridges. Any solution to this issue requires regional cooperation. And so in working with an Eastern Jackson County coalition, Independence passed a statement of common purpose that allows us to work with other municipalities. And we are hoping that Blue Springs and Lee Summit and Raytown and Grandview, who were part of those initial meetings, will join us in that statement of common purpose, because we know that one community can't solve this alone. Kansas City has been working on this as well, and we're coordinating with the council member who is the chair of their Homeless Services Coalition. So how are we addressing this issue in Independence? We have convened a group of fantastic nonprofits and community problem solvers to work on this issue. You've seen some of that effort. You have seen the Independence Together program blossom. This is a partnership between Community Services League and the City of Independence. This program matches people who are homeless with roadside trash cleanup. And you may have seen some of them out picking up trash on the roadsides, and I hope you took the opportunity to wave to them. Your city looks much better because of it. They have removed more than 100,000 pounds of trash in 4 months. Exciting. More importantly, this program sets aside money to help people get housed. 3 of our participants have permanent housing. 3 have moved on to full-time jobs. 1 lady opened her first bank account ever. There are actually 30 people waiting to get into the program. So we have opportunities to solve problems together. We've established a community paramedic program that sends a social worker and a paramedic to interact with homeless people instead of the police, a much better solution. We have a new crisis center operated by Comprehensive Mental Health for people who are experiencing a mental health crisis so they don't have to use the ER. We will eventually get some dollars from a national opioid settlement, and this will allow us to dedicate additional monies to drug treatment and mental health services that makes rehousing easier. And finally, I have to give a shout out to several agencies who are working to prevent future homelessness. Drum Farm has supportive housing for young people who are aging out of foster care so that they can grow up to be engaged, productive, and employed adults. Hillcrest Ministries has just added 16 units. Mother's Refuge is adding 12 units for young women with small children. Habitat for Humanity is doing minor home repairs to keep seniors in their houses. And these are excellent examples of Independence doing what it does best. We solve problems, we take care of each other. I am hopeful that we will make progress on these great challenges, and I am delighted to be doing that with my 6 fellow council members to make Independence continue on its road to greatness. I turn the microphone over to Mayor Rowland to close us out.
Well done. Great job, council member. It is truly my pleasure to close us out here today on the State of the City Address and to talk about those issues. But the first thing that we have is on the slides should be economic redevelopment. And sorry for jumping out of the camera screen there. Bill Esri told me don't do that this year. So Bill, I've got you in my head. But I've got to step out just for a second as we talk about economic redevelopment. Because I think this is just really important to me, and I've always wanted to do this, and so I'm going to ask all of you after I put the helmet on, or the hard hat on, that you can help me here. Hold on. I've always wanted to do this. But the joy of this moment is I truly want to take this sledgehammer over to the Venture Kmart building and start to destroy it. I've actually thought of asking the governor for preemptive pardons for other locations. I'm not sure that'll work. But how many in here, give me a round of applause if you were excited about the Kmart Venture building being torn down? This council has gotten that done. Yes, and give them a round of applause because they're the ones that deserve it. All right, here's my other fear. How's the hair? Does it look all right? Because I'm concerned about it. All right, I'm glowing. Thank you. Yeah, that'll be out. People just say hi to you, Mr. Glow, Mr. Glow. That'll be it. But anyway, I love that. The next thing is ethics reform, and this council has made a commitment to ethics reform. There has actually been a committee that has worked on this for an entire year, and I want to give a shout out to those folks who have worked almost every Friday for hours to look at what can we do to write ethics reform for our city and in a positive way. So I certainly want to give a shout out. If you see these folks sometime in the near future, give them a shout out and say thank you. Larry Blick, who headed the committee and did a tremendous job. Christine Hughes, Jim Schultz, former council member. Alan Gardner, Sarah Wimberly, Scott Roberson, also a former council member, and Carol Salinas. Those folks worked really hard to bring this document, and this council is going to work on that in August. So that is a very, very important key going forward. The next, if I'm correct, is the charter review. And that was mentioned earlier. Our charter hasn't been reviewed for many, many years. And this is a comprehensive review of our charter. They have worked very hard, and the Charter Commission deserves a tremendous amount of gratitude for the hours that they've worked to make our charter more streamlined and more focused. Yeah, that's okay. You can certainly applaud about that. It's a big deal. The next challenge we have, obviously, is our budget. And we have more needs than we have money, as you all know. And that's why it's so important to pursue a general obligation bond for this city so that we can truly do things like sidewalks and streets and hopefully, because it is in desperate need, yes. The police station is in desperate need of just to tear it down, and I'll keep my little buddy for that project too. So we've got to have that GEO bond. The next is creating the long-term strategy. And this one, I know this is going to sound stupid for me to say this, and I'm okay with saying stupid stuff. But this is really the most excited I've been as mayor was about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, when this council got together and said, we're going to meet again July 31st to review our strategic plan. And they made a commitment to continue to do that going forward. Now, I know that sounds minuscule, it sounds small, but when you have 7 people getting together and saying, we're going to continue to look at our priorities, we're going to continue to look forward for our city, and we're going to make a commitment that we stay focused on a plan, that is how you make progress. And I give them a round of applause for that commitment, because that is really important, so thank you. Also, in regard to that, we're asking, because of that long-term strategic plan, we're having a meeting on July 31st. It'll be at the Truman Memorial Building, I believe, if I'm correct. And we've invited some of the members of the Chamber executive team to be there. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can coalesce together as a chamber and as a city government to work together to say, how can we collectively promote this idea of a GEO bond for our city? Because it will be transformative to this city to accomplish that task. So I think that is incredibly important for our city to do that. And last but not least, yes. This was a gift from Morris Heidi, and this was the first picker that we got on the very first trash day. And he actually painted it gold for me, and then we asked everybody who showed up that day to sign it. And there was, maybe 15 or 20 people. This last Saturday, we went to Bunshoe Park. I never thought I would ever say this to another city council member. Quit stealing my trash. We went to Bunshoe Park. Councilmember McCandless, it was so clean, we had to go to Sterling and 40 Highway. As you all know, a Target-rich environment. So, trash. But here is my challenge to all of you. I have not seen all of you at our trash pickup day. That is my challenge. Come on out. And I had a lady this last week. She actually brought her 3 children, and she brought a child that was she actually was carrying a child in one of those, pouches, And I'm going, now this is a commitment. But she had not only wanted to pick up trash, but she wanted to pick my brain. And I thought, what an incredibly wise woman to come to a mayor's trash pickup and say, I want to lobby you on other projects. Because I can't leave. It's the mayor's trash pickup. Where am I going to go? Sorry, I don't want to talk about this. So if anybody wants to lobby the mayor, that is a great thing to do. It is a great thing to do. Also, is the picture up? There we go. I got to tell you a little about this picture, because this is actually Councilmember Stewart came out with us that day, and I think your daughter got some ticks too, didn't she? On that day, and right along that roadway, I got 5 ticks. I'm committed to your city. But then I became concerned about those ticks. So I went to Dr. Gabe Purcell, which Councilmember Hobart recommended to me, and she has made a huge difference. So Councilmember, you were absolutely right. I was wrong. I shouldn't have fought you. I should have agreed with you. So I just want to say that publicly to everybody. So I went to Dr. Gabe Purcell. I went in to get tested, make sure I didn't have any strange diseases. As physicians come in, they walk in, they've got their notes, and she looked grim. And I was concerned. And she goes, I have to tell you, this is the first case of this in the state of Missouri. She said, it's actually the first case of this that I've seen in the entire United States. I called CDC. You have bitten by ticks with a very rare disease, and now you are inflicted with deranged mayor disease. So I like her sense of humor, so tell her she does well. But she said, quit being so paranoid and suck it up, and that's probably it. But I just want to close here with this point. I just want to thank all of you and express my gratitude for the opportunity to serve your city. I also want to express my gratitude to my colleagues who have worked very, very hard on the council and have worked hard today to do their presentations. Give them a round of applause. Did they do a great job? Did a great job. It fills me with tremendous pride to serve such a vibrant and resilient city. And as we reflect on our challenges, but we also need to reflect on the progress we've made. Together we have the power to overcome any obstacle that comes our way. We are the power to build a brighter future for this city for many years to come. As your mayor, I'm committed to listening to your voices. During the pandemic, it was very difficult for me, and my wife says, you're driving me crazy, you've got to get out of the house. So, and that is true. Is that true? Yes, it's true. So I got out of the house and I started listening to a whole bunch of books on audio. And one of the books I listened to was about George Washington, but a very wise choice was, or a statement was said there by Lord Chesterfield. He was a French aristocrat. And he said, a man would rather have his story heard than his wish granted. And that is my commitment to you. I looked in the mayor's office for a magic wand. I couldn't find one anywhere. Kim assured me, don't look, but it's not there. But I didn't listen, did I? But what I will do is listen to your concerns, because it's so important for us to have that kind of communication and that relationship. I want to thank you for helping our city continue to thrive and to flourish. Because without your commitment, without your work, without you being here today, you're making a statement that you're committed to our city. And we have tremendous plans for driving this city forward. As you've seen from this is an incredibly extensive menu of items to try to swallow over the next few years. And I'm very proud of our council because they are willing to take on that task. I'm very proud to be in a community that's willing to help us take on that task. I have not had anyone tell me, don't pursue these goals. If we had, we would have stopped. But I just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you, fellow mayors, for being here. Everyone have a great day. Thank you very much.